Why the name Popxanax for you?
Well, my name originally was Lil Shanky, right? And I went to prison, and I was on a whole bunch of Xanax when I committed my charge. And so everybody in the joint was like, "Hey, you that Pop Xanax dude that popped all them damn Xanax," and it just stuck and just went from there. So I got my name from the joint.
Now, how much time were you incarcerated?
Well, they gave me 14 years altogether, right? In the state of Indiana, we got a 50% law. Well, now it's 85%, but I fell under the 50%. So out of that 14, I had to do 7. So I did 3 behind. It was like around 3, give or take, and then the rest was all house arrest. I got out, did house arrest, modified, and went back, came back.
Care to shed some light on that?
As far as like the charges and shit.
Well, came back, went back, modified.
Oh yeah. So when I caught the charge, I got sentenced to 14 years. I got sent to Indiana State Prison. I was there, did my little classes. I wrote the judge, was like, "Hey, I ain't got no write-ups. I ain't been doing shit wrong." And they brought me back to the county, and they approved my modification out on house arrest. They gave me 5 years house arrest. I caught another case while on house arrest, and it violated it, and they sent me back for it. And yeah, same ordeal played out.
So how much actual time do you do in prison itself?
About 5.5 years. Yeah.
And do you want to break those stints down?
Yeah.
Was it like 1 year, then 2 years, then 3 years? Or can you break that 5.5?
So it was like 3. I was in Indiana State Prison. Then when I got out, I caught the other case. I did like a year in Westville, right? And that's another prison we got. I did a year in Westville, got out. But before that, I had caught a robbery, a strong arm robbery, robbed a gas station. And I did like a year and a half for that. So it's like 5 years.
Where did you do that last amount of time in institution-wise?
For the robbery?
Yes.
I was a juvenile. I did it it was called Northeast Facility up in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
And the 2 charges before that were also as a juvenile as well?
No, I was an adult. I was an adult.
Okay, so just for clarification, that wasn't the actual order of the 5.5 years?
Yeah, it wasn't the order of the 5. It went ISP, Indiana State Prison. That was the 14, did the 3 house arrests, whatever. And then while on house arrest, I caught another charge. They sent me to Westville. So it goes in that order. Michigan City, Westville. Well, it goes Northeast, Michigan City, Westville.
And the one you did 3.5, that was as an adult?
Yeah.
Was it 3 or 3.5?
It was like 3.5, like a 3 and some change.
Now, what's the difference between house arrest and prison?
Shit, you at home. Shit. I mean, that's the difference. You get to work, you get to get some pussy, get money. I mean, yeah, you still got to follow the same stipulations, but when you behind them walls, it's just niggas, You ain't moving unless a guard tell you move. Nobody want to be there, Like, nobody want to be there.
And out of all 3 of those institutions, aside from house arrest, which one was the toughest?
They was all cake to me. But I mean, if you ask, they gonna say Michigan City, because that's where they used to do like the death row. Like I seen death row, but like they break it down when you get in there. If you sneeze, don't look in nobody's cell. Don't touch nobody cat. They got little cats and shit running around. It's different rules. As far as Westville, it's a big ass play baby camp. It's just dorms, a bunch of kids trying to make a name for themselves. Michigan City, they kill you. Like, they ain't gonna play with you. No fighting. They gonna stab you with lawnmower blades. Like, for real.
Have you actually seen that happen?
Oh yeah. My first day there, I seen two incidences. One, I seen a little, Caucasian male get took, on some other type shit. Like, first day, like, he can't be saved. He's somebody bitch now. And then the second time, later on that day, I seen this Latin king. He had got woke up, had a phone, and the guard actually killed him. Actually, it wasn't like a stabbing, but he tried to take off running, and they got behind him, and there's like these points that stick out the wall. The guard like pushed him, and his neck got impaled on it, and they just laid him there. He was just laid out.
And you saw both events play out.
Saw both events play out. Yeah.
And you said, zooming out, all of it was cake to you?
Yeah, it was nothing to me. Like, I had nobody ever try me, nobody pushed up on me, none of that. I already had a name. So when I got there, they was like, oh, that's Shanky. I wasn't even Popxanax then. It was that Shanky. It was people I knew from my hometown. It was there,
Where did that name come from?
That's just a childhood name. Like, my whole life, I've been called that.
Now, care to share what the other two charges were that ended up sticking?
Yeah, so it was initially a home invasion. I got hit for the 14 years. That was a home invasion. I pled down to a burglary, and then the other one was a domestic. And those were the two that stuck. The domestic is what violated me.
Now, what level of securities were these facilities?
So Michigan City was like a 3, I believe. I believe it was a 3 or a 4. It wasn't a 5 or nothing. And then Westville was like a 2. It's like like I said, it's a little play baby camp. Just a whole bunch of people trying to make a name for themselves and some gangbang type shit.
Now, for those in the audience that have never experienced state prison, what is that like?
Shit, it's scary, to be honest with you, when like, because you on a bus, so, or a van, however they want to take you, They got these little shackles, they shack you in, you got no drawers on, you in an orange suit, or in my state at least, and you pull up to this big-ass wall, and that shit intimidating. You don't know what you're going to meet behind there. Is you going to go home? Is you not? You going to catch new charges? You don't know what's going to happen. It's a scary sight. It's dark.
And just for clarification, you say it was cake, but then you say it's also scary.
Yeah, at first. It's scary at first, you don't know. But once you actually get in there and you start seeing familiar faces and people know you, and they know who a bitch and who not a bitch, who to basically push up on. Like, they know. They can sense it in you.
Now, there are some that have experienced county jail, but never state prison. Is there a difference there?
Yeah, it's a huge difference. I'd rather be in prison. Like, 100%. I'd rather send me to the joint.
Why?
Just time. I'd just rather get my time going. In county, it's the worst time ever. You just stuck. You don't know what possibilities, what outcome is going to be. At least when you sign that paper and they send you to your state or your prison you're going to, your time has started. You one step closer to going home.
Any other differences aside from that?
To me, that the food, the price of shit, it's super there. They drain your ass. Like, fucking $2 for a noodle in the county, Like, the fuck? Like, nobody want to do that. And the guards walk around like they own you or some shit,
And for context, which county jails have you experienced previously?
I've only been to Elkhart County Jail. That's in Indiana. So.
And how much time do you think you spent there if you totaled that all up?
I couldn't even give you a number, bro, to be honest with you.
Now, speaking of violence, can one experience state prison without having to fight?
Yeah, yeah. My first bit, well, my Michigan City bit, I never fought. Didn't fight in there one time. Like I said, I was in there smooth rocking.
And that's because you had a name already.
I already had a name.
Now, does this apply to those in gangs or no gangs?
Anybody. You ain't got to fight. You know what I mean? Like, we call them neutrons. If you ain't gangbanging or if you ain't affiliated, we leave you alone. You know, unless you put yourself in a situation where you shouldn't put your nose into, and that's how the shit start. You know, motherfucker trying to talk in on gang business. You know, like, hey, now you about to get checked. You know, mind your business, do your time, go home. That's about it.
Now, you alluded to someone getting taken.
Yeah.
Someone was someone's B.
Yeah.
Does rape happen in state prison?
Man, it's not like how they show it in the movies, but I mean, they get took. They definitely get took. It's just the weak. It's a wolf prey on, you know, they preying. If they sense it in you. If, like, they gonna sense that shit in you. You know, motherfuckers don't go to prison and just start fucking people. You had that shit intentional your whole life. You know, and they sense that shit. They can smell it.
Craziest thing that happened during your state prison bids?
The craziest things? I mean, I've seen some crazy shit.
Craziest thing?
Man, I'm on my homies, right? We was in Westville, and they got the fighting and shit. You know what I mean? Him and some Mexicans, they got the fighting, and he was a white boy actually though, and they stabbed him like 14 times. Like, I saw that. That was crazy. And like, what's crazy about it is none of it penetrated him. None of the stabs hit him. Like, you seen the pokes, but none of them actually like went through his skin. And I was like, that guy was on your side. He was definitely on your side.
Now, how does one survive state prison?
Mind your business. That's how you survive. Mind your business. Go home. You ain't got to be in the gang. You ain't got to be a tough Tony. We're going to respect that more. You be yourself.
Now, circumstances could be different for everyone, but what are some do's and don'ts inside state prison for someone watching or listening to this interview about to do some time themselves?
Do's and don'ts. I mean, if you go to a 3 and there's cells, don't look in nobody's cell. That's number one. Off rip. Don't look in their cell. Mind your business. Don't put your nose in gang affiliated business. If you owe, pay. That's it. If you owe, pay. That's the number one. That's how you get killed.
Now, if you feel like you've answered this next set of questions, then you can skip it or add on to what you've said. And if not, feel free to provide an answer. But overall speaking, what did this entire prison experience teach you? What did you learn from all this incarceration?
I learned how to hold my anger. Honestly, I learned that because I took a lot of classes. So, because I had a real bad anger issue. I was always fighting, ready to do some dumb shit. And I learned that. They taught me, you know, like real shit. I don't want to go back. But I mean, circumstances, you know, whatever it is. But I don't want to go back. Like, I learned my lesson. I'm trying to do legit shit.
And speaking of that, after the first initial, you ended up going back 2 more times after that. For violations, I believe.
Yeah. I think it was like 1 extra time. Maybe 2, maybe 1. Not too sure. Yeah.
I may have gotten that misconstrued there. But let's just say you were incarcerated 3 different spans of your life.
Yeah.
Or 3 different points of your life. For someone in the audience that might have this thought, okay, you just said you never want to go back. Why wasn't that figured out the first time you went in? Why a second? Why a third?
Doing dumb shit. That's the only real answer I can give you. Just doing dumb shit. Taking chances. Everybody think they can't get caught till you get caught. You know? Like,
if you could turn back the hands of time, what would you have done? Would you have done anything different in any of these situations?
Nah. No. The only reason I say that is because that made me who I am today. I don't know who I would be if I didn't do that. So I wouldn't change nothing.
What did you wish you knew before entering state prison? If anything.
Nothing.
What do you want people watching or listening to this interview know about prisoners?
And some of the smartest people you will meet in your life. Like, real, like for real, smart. Like, not all of them are real criminals to the heart. A lot of them just did some dumb shit and got jammed up, got made an example out of, you know, like that's really some real shit.
Now, you already given your do's and don'ts in state prison, but circumstances could be different once again for everyone. But let's just say someone's watching or listening to this interview and they just became a prisoner themselves. Anything you would say to them?
Just mind your business. You know, don't go in there trying to be a gang member. That's what I tell them. Like, you ain't gotta be a gang member, bro. Just ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. You don't need protection. Just do your time and go home.
Anything else you want to mention about state prison or question you weren't asked, people want to know about that?
Nah.
Was it worth it?
Was it worth it? Nah. I lost years, but I wouldn't change it. It wasn't worth it.
Since these incidents, what's your opinion on the American justice system now?
It's fucked. To be honest, it's fucked. They don't care. They don't care. I think I was, 20, early 20s. I was in my early 20s. They brought me a 33-year plea bargain. Like, what? I wasn't even, you know what I mean? Like, a 33-year plea bargain? It's fucked. Like, my whole life would have been going if I would have signed that shit. Like, they don't care about us.
And ultimately, what happened with that charge?
Ended up getting so they brought me a 33-year plea bargain. Told them no. They brought me a 26-year plea bargain. I told them no. So they brought me a 19-year plea bargain. And I was like, no. And my lawyer had a public defender at the time. And she was like, you were caught red-handed. This the best it's gonna get. So I looked at her and was like, you're fired. And she was like, you can't fire me. I'm the only lawyer you got. And I was like, she didn't know. My family had just got me a lawyer. Shout out Mark Doty. And I was like, I got a lawyer. And I gave her the name. And she was like, well, I hope he can do better than what I could for you. I'm like, yeah, he will. So he came to me. He was like, hey, if I give you a 10-5 right now, would you take it? And I'm like, yeah, I sign it in blood right now. And he brought me a 10-5. And then basically when we went to court, the judge aggravated it. And he put 4 more years on it. And especially how I got to 14 and do half of that. So I still took it, you know, that's better than 33. So
what was his reasoning for the extra 4?
Aggravated circumstances, violent felon.
Anything else on the subject of prison while we're at it?
Some badass prison females in that motherfucker, the guards. Like, they cool in the motherfucker, to be honest. It's probably the best part of it, you know, get to smell the females when they come in.
Was that the most you were able to do?
Yeah, I ain't getting no visits. I ain't really getting no, I got maybe $20 a month. Like, shit, I ain't even finna cap. Like, I was broke as hell in there, trying to get it any way I could. So.
Have you mentioned any of this stuff, just in regards to prison, in your music at all?
A little bit. I just don't try to, you know, talk about it too much. I'm real big into, like, negative energy and shit.
So as far as aspects, just lyrics in songs?
Yeah, like, I'll bring it up, you know, I did this, I was on the yard, you know, That's about it. But I don't want to have them flashbacks, you know. Like, I'm trying to move past all that shit.
Did you ever record a first day out song?
Nah. Shit's stupid to me. Rappers go in, you know what I mean, and they do 7 hours, come home like and drop a first day out. Like, boy, you ain't do no time. Like, what you do? You got a free shirt from somebody and a noodle. You shouldn't drop that shit. Well, I mean, shout out to Grizzly, he started it, I believe. And shit, that shit was hard. All that other ones I ain't really rocking with.
Did you create music?
In jail?
Yes.
Nah, that's crazy. I didn't. I was rapping then, but I didn't write one song when I was locked up. It was like I had like a mental block. Like I couldn't get my mind focused to write a song when I'm in here, no food in my box, you know, no visits, motherfuckers. I'm calling on money that I put on the phone. Motherfuckers won't even answer, so I couldn't pull myself to write a song, bro. I was stressing in that bitch. On some want to go home type shit.
Wouldn't even freestyle with others or?
No. When I people be like, hey, he rap, you know, like, hey, Shank rap. Nah, I'm good. I'm cool on that.